fat cheesy or something.
Oh my God.
I'ma give them what they want. She gon' give me what I want. I'ma give them what they want.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Zay. Welcome back to the What They Want podcast. I got my boy. It's your man, the main man of the hour. We got Snow.
Snow, yeah.
We got Snow. We got Snow.
We got, yeah, Snow.
Listen.
What's up, Zay? What's up?
What's up, big dog? I'm gonna introduce our guest here in a minute, but first I want to shout out the homies for all the love, the support, all that stuff, man. We see y'all liking the likes, we see you liking the comments, man. Be on the lookout for a couple posts asking, who would you like to see on the podcast? We're gonna try and get them on, but man, I am excited for this pod. To be real, we got a living legend in the building, man. Strange music. Signed with, we got Mr. Jehry Robinson, man. What's up?
What up, man? Thank y'all for having me, bro.
Over the pod, bro. We appreciate it for real.
Yeah.
Man, how was the drive?
Good. I'm in Kansas City, so I moved out here, like right near Strange Music headquarters in Lee Summit. So not much of a drive. We all right.
Just hop, skip, and a jump, right?
Not much. 4:35. We here.
We gonna pop it up, man. We gonna pop it off. I'm gonna ask you a basic interview question. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna jump right in, man. If y'all don't know Jehry, bro, signed to Strange Music in 2019, putting out some bangers. About to release an album.
Yes, sir.
Released his previous album about a year ago. Drink More Water. In August of 2023. August 31st, 2023.
Okay.
Back at it again with the dates.
I like it with the dates.
Just like Carter 3, baby. Check the pod. Man, it's really interesting because Drink More Water, number one on iTunes Hip Hop, 6 million streams and counting.
Yes.
Since its release, what is kind of like? I'm curious as to like what's the mindset jumping into the next album off of the height of the album before that.
Yeah.
And either is there a thing of, are you striving to do? I mean, I feel like as creatives we're always striving to do better than the last album, but is there like a real push numbers wise, or do you care just more about pushing forward in your content that you're making?
It's a good question. That's a good question. I think moving forward is the same game plan as it's been in. I think it was like 2016 before I released anything. I got to meet Macklemore. I knew his homie Jason Koenig, and he does this videos, super talented dude or whatever. Got close with him, and I went to Jimmy Fallon, and I went backstage. It was so inspirational, right? I was like, it was so cool.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And shout out to Macklemore. A lot of people give Macklemore a lot of slack musically. I'm a huge fan. I love it, man. He kind of changed the trajectory of what I wanted to do. And I asked him. I had this like little fan moment, and I was like, dude, I got 300 people that showed up to my last show. They showed up to the show before that. And that's kind of, I can't break that. Like I have literally it was called the First 300. And everybody took their, had their own merch. And it was this whole thing we created in my hometown. And he was like, yo, just focus on those 300 people. That was like the one thing. And then he went on and went out to Jimmy Fallon or whatever it was. And I just took it with me. And he's like, don't worry about anything else. Like when you think about music, when you're in the studio, on the next album, he's like, you have 300 people that are vibing with you, that come and they sing and connect with you. That's who you have to appease right now.
Yeah. Right,
and if you focus on that, people will start to feel like, oh man, I want to be involved. How come I'm not? And what was going on over here?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But yeah, he's like, you're trying to reach out because you're trying to hit 1 million people and you're trying to hit 1 million streams on Instagram and YouTube and stuff. It's like, if you just go down to the micro and you focus in on a small group of people who like you, the people that are commenting and whatever, right? Yeah. So that, from then, which was, that was 2016, it's 10 years ago almost. That's it. When I first came out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's crazy to even think that way. But yeah, so I always apply that. I'm like, all right, cool. So now it's like I got this Drink More Water was successful and people loved it, and it got me so many new people. And I'm like, cool, let me keep that mentality, right? Let me focus in on the people, even down to using social media to be like, yo, what do we like? What do we not like? And kind of including the people. Because it's like, that's it. And then they want to help bring it. They're a part of it now. So, even to go number one with the amount of people we have is insane. That was insane to me because we're not supposed to be next to like 21 Savage or like Lil Baby or whatever. Like, how did we even do that?
Gucci Mane.
Yeah, and how we did that is everyone is kind of like, I watched this from the jump. I've been part from the 300, or I've been part since there was only 1,000. I've been part of this. And when they see that we got to number 82 on the charts, my people are like, yo, that's dope.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm like, yo, I don't know how we did that, but yo, let's go. Like, let's go.
For sure, yeah.
And that small amount of people coming together on that one common goal is, I didn't think we would go to number one, but even when we got to top 20 or so, I was like, what? Like, that was actually mind blowing, bro. And like,
For sure,
yeah, so I kind of go into it with that focus every time. It's like, let me just appease these people. They mess with this. This is their music. They're connecting with it. It's like, there's millions and millions of other people who have no idea who I am. Most people in the world have no idea what it is. But I can't worry about that. I'm not trying to gain them. I'm not trying to reach out to them per se.
Sure.
I'm just trying to focus on my people. And then the people that are touched, they'll share it for me.
100%.
They'll sit with their homies like, bro, you ain't heard of this? Like, that's the best thing that you could do for an artist or you know, a creative trying to come up.
It seemed like you mastered the art of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like you literally mastered it completely. You were like, bro, I'm going to focus on these 300 and watch it multiply by thousands.
Yeah.
And thousands.
Straight up. So, so that's it. It's never like, I'm never thinking of like the numbers until later, you know what I mean? Until after a couple months, I'll look and I'll tune in, try to compare it to the last record or something like that. But I'm like, that's not my main thing. It's not like the first day, like how many numbers did we do?
Right.
I don't really care. At the end of the day, it's like, I know that the people, the 300 people, or now the 100,000 people that follow me or whatever, they're gonna receive it how they receive it, and now I'm paying attention to that.
Yeah,
I'm paying attention. Like, are these? Because that's the worst. Like a fan that's like, nah, this ain't it. I don't care if a new person don't like it. That don't matter to me. But like the core people being like, yo, this ain't it, or then 10 of those people saying that, or 20 or 30 or 40, you're like, that's impactful to me. That's like, I'm paying attention because these people don't hate me. They're not hating on me. They might say like, man, I'm just not really feeling, I tried something new and it's like, I ain't feeling it. You know what I mean? But that's like the feedback that I'll take. And it's important. It's not like, I'm not like, yo, everybody's hating. Not like, you know what I mean? I've had different things. So so moving off that, we don't really think about the numbers and the success of the project. You know, we kind of just look at the success of like, how are the people responding to it, you know?
You know, I think the core audience is something that's like super slept on when it comes to stuff. In fact,
100%.
Thinking of artists, even some big art. One of my artists that I like a lot. Like I have multiple of his albums on vinyl. I have one literally sitting in my office. Daniel Caesar. I don't know if you know him.
I know Daniel Caesar.
Yeah, I mean, wait, listen. He was underground. He's not anymore. But like, he went through this process before he released Never Enough, where he was like, "Oh, the internet can't cancel me." Blah blah blah. Bet, and then the internet did because he just wasn't aware of.
I don't know that deep, but I know his music.
Well, but he wasn't aware of like he basically challenged his core audience.
Okay.
And then basically lost it because his core audience stopped caring. Like they stopped paying attention. And
that's
so
an interesting thing.
That kind of makes me think that, you're so you're thinking about your core audience, 300, the 100,000 now, the gang that's with you, through thick and thin, whatever the case may be.
Right.
It reminds me while I was looking around during either like an interview piece or a blab or something like that, you mentioned that when you'd signed to Strange Music that you kind of they have this philosophy that you kind of adapted of no fear when you're doing stuff. And so I'm like, how has that shaped over the past 5 for whatever years it's been since 2019?
4 years.
In going into this next album, and then also like how did that play into not only the album but like pilot, for example, like singles and stuff like that?
Right. That's huge. I actually just met with the CEO of Strange, Travis O'Gwen. We had a meeting like 2 days ago, and I was just reflecting back on that fear thing, because the first thing they said, like, there's no return of investment on fear. And at the end of the day, when you're working with a label or something, they're investing in you. That's what it boils down to, right? They're believing enough to say, I'm gonna put this money up, it's gonna come back, right? So when they're like, don't have fear, that's their number one thing. Tech Nine, like, that's what they instilled. And you don't realize you have fear until you really assess it. Like, I'm like, well, I ain't scared. I'm from New York, dog. I don't give, like,
I don't give a fuck.
No, just that ego comes out. But it's like,
yeah.
maybe there is certain things that you have fear of that will hold you back. So that's a huge thing because it's like you cannot care. You cannot care win or lose. Like, you got to know what you're doing and be like, that's it. It's like if you're shooting a video and you got a vision for it and someone's like, oh, maybe we should do this. You're like, no, right? I have a vision. I'm fearless in it. I know that if I do it the right way, it's going to, warrant this success or whatever. So having that, and then it's real right away. Someone goes, yeah, but like, I don't think that's the vibe. And then now it's shot down. Or maybe a person's like, I'm bigger than you. I have more accolades than you. I don't think the drums should come in there. And they got 10 platinum records. Sometimes you're like, all right, man, let me shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah,
and,
of course.
But there's definitely a line to that where it's like, okay, this person might be trying to help, but also don't let someone take that vision away at any cost. And if you really believe in it, I mean, you've seen like Kanye or something, you know what I mean? Like probably a bad reference right now. I guess I think Kanye is crazy, but he's amazing, So on that level though, it's a huge part of it, man. It's a huge part of just, and to any artist trying to put something out, it's like you cannot have any fear whatsoever. If you have a little bit of doubt, it's ruining the whole thing, right? You have to like really fight that, I think. And
so would you equate fear and confidence to a certain level, like to a certain degree, that having no fear that shifts into basically having confidence, like
by default,
that's basically
right?
what it is.
By default, if you're fearless, it's having confidence in your vision and in yourself. So, but I think that's a huge detriment to like so many people, and not spoken of enough. It's like we will allow the room to kill our excitement sometimes. Like exciting is not cool, especially like I'm in hip hop, bro. So like I get excited, like, dude, it's so awesome! Oh my god, this is crazy! We're gonna have the biggest song, and everyone's like, hey, chill out, dog. You're like, chill out, dog. You know what I'm saying? So that idea of like not allowing your excitement to be killed because it might not be cool, or people have these egos that really get in the way of shit. So it's like I'm excited right now. I just got hit. Struggle Jennings just hit me up yesterday, and we're working on something together. Whatever. I'm excited. I'm not gonna be like, all right, dog, whatever. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Thank you so much. And it's like that energy for some reason is another thing. It's like they just block that. You know what I'm saying? So people allow that to create that fear where it's like, all right, let me just try to change who I am a little bit or repress that feeling. But when someone sees that excitement in me and it resonates with them, that's when I win every time, right?
100%.
So it's like if that person isn't resonating with that excitement and they're like, yo, this guy's too much, or they're in a different space. That's cool, to each his own. But like probably not going to be the best bond for me. When I met Jelly and we got in the studio, one of the first times we met, he got on one of my songs. He heard the song. It was an emotional moment. We were both being like, I didn't really know him that well, and I'm showing him some deep ass song, and he felt it, and it's like it was okay, man. We were just being ourselves, and I'm like, this is gonna work, because before we even got to making anything creatively, we had this vibe, So that's really an important thing too. It's just the vibe, and that comes with being fearless, being like, hey, I'm gonna play the song. Everyone might hate it. It might ruin this relationship right now. Like, this is a cool relationship I got. I might ruin it because everyone's going to be like, man, this is whack.
Sure.
Or maybe it's not, it's a little too deep but I feel it in my heart. I feel like, okay, this is what I want to do. And, every time I've like acted on that and been like, okay, let me be fearless, it always pans out. You know what I mean? Anytime I have fear, it usually falls apart. Sure. You know what I'm saying? It's real.
So let's speak on one thing I want to ask you too, because this is one of my favorite records of yours. Is Still Not Breathing, and it's off of Drink More Water.
Yeah.
But like you sat there and said the vision and whatnot, and you're like, like sometimes it's a vision and whatnot that I want to execute. What made you? And if it was you or maybe someone else who created it, you can elaborate on it. But what made that video? Like you came up with like some cool Street Fighter type.
Oh yeah.
Vibe.
That was literally in my head. Yeah, that was literally directly my exact vision. Like I was just like, yo, we gotta. And then I go to the team that did the video, my boy Cam and I think James at the time, all these dudes that that really, really are good at what they do,
Right.
and they facilitate that vision to the best that they can. And it might even be a budget thing, dude. Hey, we can't jump out of a helicopter, but we could do this and make it look like you're jumping out or whatever, right? So, yeah, but that's a vision. Like that beat I made. As soon as I made it, I didn't write a record to it. I just produced the beat. God bless. I produced the beat, and I was like, this has to have people that could really chop rap, which is, I've been in Kansas City almost 4 years. I didn't even know what chop rap meant. Like coming from New York,
you'll
I
find
didn't
it
know
out
that
real
term.
quick in here.
Yeah, I always did it. I did it, and I like almost worked to perfect it, but I didn't know what chop rap was. It wasn't a term I knew. And then now, a couple years later, I made this beat, and I was like, yo, we got to find the best chop rappers I could find. So I hit up Tech. I hit up Ritz. That was my first two people, and they both hit me back right away. Like, yo, I was like, one of them was going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then they both hit me back. I'm like, oh, both of them are going to do it, then cool.
It's time, baby. It's time.
Yeah, right.
So with that, man, like, especially with that, like what you're saying, first of all, I didn't know you made the beats. So that's crazy. So you make beats as well then.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. So how is it working with Tech? You know what I'm saying? Because that's you're on the Strange or whatever, but the case may be Tech, and then you get Ritz. Those two are just two different animals.
Yeah, definitely. I think Tech is a monster at what he does. He's the greatest to me in that realm, especially when it comes to chop rapping. Definitely 100%.
His cadences.
I don't think
crazy.
anybody ever did it better. And then Ritz is up there. He's a close.
He's very close.
They're neck and neck to me. So like, So it's really, really dope to even to know those guys. And like me and Ritz did 70 shows recently, man. And when you go out there and do 70 days, like 4 days off, 3 days off in between that, you get close with somebody. You know what I mean? You get to know somebody, the good, the bad. They're having a bad day when you wake up, like, we're at the sound check. Yeah. So, and I toured with Ritz before that too. We both went out with Tech. We went out with Tech before that, actually. So we got super close, and then he called me to come out on his last tour. And man, it's just dope. It's like steel sharpens steel. So I love that art form, and to be around people who actually do it and are successful at it is crazy.
Well, that's what I love about Ritz is because he's very unfiltered. Like the dude, literally everything in your music, you feel it, and like he says it, and like what like obviously never been on tour, never done it. You have, but like going on tour with him and seeing how he is day to day, you know what I'm saying? Because he speaks about it a lot in his music where he's like, hey, like Fake Smile. He talked about a lot of Strange Days.
Oh, definitely.
And he's like, man, he's like, I was fighting with my wife, and then I was going through this, and I was always drunk, and he's like, I apologize for this. He's very unfiltered and stuff like that, but he's like, that's why it makes me a huge fan of Ritz. Yeah. And whatever he does with his clientele, Strange.
He's a very few people I say are friends. Even if like, we've worked or known, like it's hard to get too close with people. People are busy and whatever. Sure, but Ritz is like an actual friend of mine. So he really we really connected. And he's so honest, man. Like
he is.
Like that's where I think his fans connect to him the most. Is like he says shit that people are scared to say. That fearlessness again, going back to it.
Exactly
like
right.
He'll say the real shit, and even if it comes back on him or whatever, he's gonna be open about it and put it in the music. So yeah, and it's crazy because people be like, some people are like, I don't even know what you guys are saying, right? There's a line, and then there's millions of people that listen to every word we're saying, even when it's fast. Even when it's fast, that they're catching. You can actually slow it down on YouTube. I didn't know until recently. Like, on YouTube, you can go to 0.5 or 2.5 slowness or whatever. Yeah. So they're listening to all of our records like that and learning every single word. So when they come to the show,
damn, I need to do that with Tech.
They know, they know it word for word.
Because I can't understand what something. All I know with Tech is like chill, chill, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get chill.
No, that's crazy.
I would look up lyric videos to like figure out how to like sing along with. With Tech songs.
But if you do that and then you knock out the. You knock it down, yeah. But that's something that like a fan showed me. I was like, this is crazy. But
his cadences and stuff like that, just alone with Tech or even with Ritz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like with you, on that record, like you started to chop, and I was like, Okay.
Yeah, I
Like,
perfected
different?
that, dude, and never knew why. Like I always thought like even where I'm from, there was really not a market for it. Like people like, yo,
100%.
what you doing, bro? Like this is too fast, bro. You got to slow it down. Like
Right.
da da da. And that's how I came up with hip hop in general. And like when I met Tech, I was just like, no way, man. Like this is crazy. Like I knew of Tech Nine, but I've heard the name, and people even in New York know that Tech's a legend. You know what I'm saying? Tech is a legend,
Yeah.
bro. So it's like, of course, but I never really dove into his catalog like that and got that deep. And then when I did, and he received what I was doing, I was like, this is almost like I felt like a kid on Christmas, like
man.
wow,
Yeah, I
like
couldn't even
you know what I'm
imagine.
saying, like
Yeah.
like I felt like I wasted time because I would be on a Friday night, like people be out there doing shit, I'd be just writing in my zone, trying to rap fast for some reason. It was almost like an obsession. I love this shit. And then I learned how to produce, so I've produced a whole bunch of stuff like for I'm Still Breathing for Tech and Ritz. I made that beat. I did a song with Jelly called Daddy Issues. I produced, you know what I'm saying? So then I started producing, and I was kind of like at a point where I don't care if I'm on it or not. I started getting friends from the production where I was like, oh, I can get this person to rap on it. I can get this person to do a hook on it. And now it's like combining both efforts, you know what I'm saying? Being able to, there was points where I was like, I'm never going to be a chop rapper, or I didn't know what that was, but I'm never going to be a fast.
You're not gonna be a chopper.
I'm not going to be
Yeah.
twisted. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just really felt like that for a minute. So meeting Tech was just like, God being like, dude, you're supposed to do this. And Tech be like, man, you one of the greatest. One of the first things he said, he put it on the song. He's like, I only fuck with elites. And I was like, this dude was calling me elite. Like, that was when I first met him, and he went on the record and did that. And he's like, you could get rid of that if you don't want. Like, in the intro, I'm like, what? Like, Tech9 just called me elite.
Bro,
you think I'm going to delete it?
Take it off.
Yeah, he was like, you can take that off.
I'm
I'm like, turn that shit up. Yo, loop that. That's the whole song.
That's the whole song.
That's the hook,
So
Just pictures
But-
of Jerry and
Yeah.
Tech Nine saying, I only mess
Right,
with elites.
but that's that was like honestly that was a life changer for me, man. Just
So speak on that, man. Like, first of all, man, what made you? Because I'm always intrigued to like producers, man. Because it's like, where did you come up with the sound? Like, where do you? You're like, all right, man. Is it like a?
man, like I learned early on, like I'm not the greatest like piano player or guitarist. Like I'm not the greatest instrumentalist. So I've learned chords, and I just like I could just take chords on a piano, and then I look at it very, very simply. Like I'm not this like Mozart, but I think that's kind of my charm in production is like I could keep it real simple. And if you listen to Dre or even Timbaland, even up to Murder Beats or something, or Mustard right now, Mustard, Metro, everybody, the real ones that everybody loves is the simplest beats, bro. And
not like us, was simple as hell.
what always intrigued me is that they can make it that simple and it be that fire.
Yeah,
like that's
100%,
that's what production is for me. It's like, how do I keep it that simple and make it like bang and make it fire? So it's like that. Like Jay White did it. He's from here.
We know Jay. Yeah,
but
Jermaine White. Yeah.
I was just talking to him. We have not worked. We've tried to link 2 different times and it's been crazy. But I've been trying to link with him and he's incredible, and
Incredible.
Yeah, I like the coolest thing for me about like any of the things I've done or like accolades I've had is like now I could actually get a DM response back from some of the people. Like I swear that's my
You're not
favorite
left
thing.
on-
like brush you off.
You're
like,
not left on red.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're
exactly.
not left on the red.
Yeah, and that's one of my biggest records that on Red. I have a record called Red. I don't know if you were referencing it, but that's one of my biggest records is on Red, and it's on that shit where it's just like people will leave you on Red, and then sometimes if you now they'll go to my page maybe like all right, maybe they'll check my shit out or
They
something.
see the motion and they're like, oh, okay, now we got to do something.
Yeah. So that's one of the coolest things lately is people will actually like write me back.
That's dope, man.
Kind of on that thing, talking about that dual side of producing and whatnot, and then also being simplistic. I'm gonna like I have a question I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna preface it, I guess, a little bit. I was a music major in college, and so like I'm super into band, whether it's marching band or concert band.
Okay.
And like one of the things that I just listened to on another podcast that I listen to all the time. pointed out was like a lot of groups, as far as like drum corps, or like super high level marching bands that are competing against each other. Some of them can get into this philosophy that it's like, well, we got to play, the densest drumline notes. We got to play the craziest horn, licks and all that stuff. And one of the guys was talking about, he marched way back in the day in the 80s, and he was like, but there's no return on investment. You get no accolades if it's not good, no matter how difficult it is.
Sure.
It can be the hardest thing in the universe,
right.
But if it's not clean, if it's not whatever, like in this case, like if it's a bad beat, if the sound quality is bad, like you're not going to get the recognition for it, no matter how difficult it becomes.
Exactly.
And so on that difficulty, in another interview I watched, you talked about how you prefer building those albums up from the ground by yourself. Like you like the albums more that you're building. It's you're producing the beats, you're doing the rap, like you're molding it yourself, as opposed to albums where you might have collaborators that come and help or
I mean I think
and
it's
that was a few years ago, so I mean kind of expand on like whether that's shifted or
it's definitely I definitely feel that way, because there's like nothing else that could beat like taking something from silence and then creating a whole world, right? Like a whole album of I walked in the room and it was silent, and now I have a song. Like it's never gonna be more me than that. Yeah. Right? It's like every single aspect came from me. Right. And I like that. And that's one of those things, back to the Fearless thing, like I was scared of like, oh, I'm not a good enough producer, maybe I'm a good enough rapper or writer, but you know what I'm saying? I never felt like I could do it all. So lately doing it all is amazing, but it's hard. It's like, like you might want a sound. Yeah. You might want a sound that's not yours. That's
not yours. Yeah. Bring somebody else in. Yeah. Dive into, you grew up on the East Coast, grew up in New Jersey, or you're from New Jersey. New York. From New York.
Yeah, we specified that. That's like,
sorry.
That's like KCMO.
Absolutely. Yeah. New Jersey is like,
No. We're not the New Jersey Nets.
No disrespect to New Jersey. It's not a disrespect thing. It's just a.
Listen, I'm having a fan moment. My brain's not all there. All right? I'm tripping out. All right. So you grew up in New York. I mean, I listen to just about everything on the way, whether it's West Coast, here. Or, I've had my phases in all three. Heavy on Kendrick, heavy on Tech, heavy on Biggie, and some other East Coast guys. And just that East Coast sound. What was it like, kind of shifting that East Coast sound that you were so used to, and then kind of shifting into that Midwest sound, like these choppa beats, and like how did that evolve on more of the level of what you brought from the East Coast to here, and does that get recognized at all? Do you like?
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, I think there's definitely a unique flavor to what I do. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, like the influence of coming out to the Midwest and hearing all the chopper stuff and whatever. I think it kind of allowed me to do it, where I was like, but I had so much influence from DJ Premier. You know what I'm saying? From the core hip hop that I knew. Yeah. Coming here, so I think. In the result of that is a unique sound. You know what I mean? I think it's my own kind of version of this, and just my music in general. If you really tap in to my music, it goes far beyond chop rapping. Sure. I got records like from one song to another. It may sound like 4 different artists. I have I love reggae, so I do a lot of reggae records. And this is on my own project, right? So it's like I got a reggae song is number 3, and then Still Breathing, the chop rap song might be number 4, and then I might do a rock and roll song, like no rapping at all, just doing a crazy ass
hit that jelly roll or country stuff too,
Yeah, well, that's actually I never have. I never did country until that's what I'm doing now, and I just link with like Struggle Jennings and even Jelly and stuff, like just inspired me to kind of you go on tour, you go on tour and you see that shit. I opened up and I would go back and kick it, shower or something, then come out, and it's like I'm watching his set every night, just out of respect and love, and then also being like back in the studio, like, man, I want to make something that feels like that a little bit. It might be a hip hop song, but it's like, okay, when that hook comes in, I got this inspiration from when Jelly's hook came in and everybody started singing it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So so like that's really the vibe on my shit. Just all over the place, and I
Okay.
don't care because that was like Strange Music kind of took that chance. Like, I thought they were gonna be like, you got to make a rap record.
Yeah.
And then I
Like,
submitted the record. They've never told me one time to
No fear.
change. Yeah, never told me to change anything. They never like.
I think they've learned all
music.
that throughout the times and stuff like that with all their artists and whatnot. They're like, hey man, do you?
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of follows into my next question and stuff like that, man. Like, how did you get connected with Strange? I know you probably get hit with that a lot, but it's like, how did you get connected with Strange? And honestly, bro, like, what makes you Strange music?
I like that. So one, I started up Famous by Association Management with with Tara, my fiance.
100%.
We started that up in 2017, and we started building ourselves and selling out some shows, selling out merch, kind of creating this little cult, mini Strange, if you will, in my neighborhood, right? Really tiny conception version of it, right? And I didn't know what Strange Music was at that time. So we were all FBA. That's what we had a little team, and we finally been able to like pay for our merch and make some money back, and we're like going. Right. And I just was up late on YouTube, and I saw a documentary on Tech and Trav, and I got like obsessed. I was like, oh man, this is dope. Like this is what we need to do.
This is wild.
And so then my girl's my manager, so I'm like, yo, she just recently became my manager. I was producing and writing before that.
Of course.
So
right.
I've been doing this shit, probably since 2014 or so. Like, young from the gate, I was always doing music. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I learned how to engineer and produce, and I would engineer sessions, I would produce sessions, I would do whatever it takes to be in the studio. Mm-hmm. Winded up with a couple placements and did some songs in like the SpongeBob movie for Nickelodeon, and I did some cool stuff like that where I kind of started to like make a living. And then my girl was like, I could be your manager or whatever. So I was like, all right, if you're gonna be my manager. Her first task actually was to get me a meeting with Strange, with Tech and Trav, and then it took like 8 months. Like I would be like, yo, not just them. I had a few people. I'd be like, yo, give me a meeting with this person. She's like, yo, it's really hard. Like those guys are like, they're like the kings of the independent. I'm like, I don't care. Give me a meeting with them. And then I would, I DM shamelessly, that fearless shit, right? I'm a DM. If I want to work with you, I'm gonna DM you. I'm gonna email you. I'm gonna find your assistant. I'm gonna call them. I might even take a flight. I might even pop up in your office. If I'm trying to talk to you, I'm trying to talk to you. And one of the biggest things I always say is like, I don't care who you are. Nobody is that important where you can't give me 10 minutes, right? And,
I like that.
And it might be a waste of time for both of us, but if I feel it strongly enough, I'm gonna get you in the room. And sometimes people want to say, I'm gonna do it all on my own. But yes, that's fair. But it's like you might need that person. You might need that plug. And I thought that what Trav and Tech were doing out there, I was like, we need to talk to him. So long story short, like it took a while. She wound up like draining my bank account because I was kind of running low on funds at the time. So if I had $2,000, I would tell her, yo, I don't care. I'll spend whatever money, get a car, get a flight. If they say you can have a meeting and you can get me the meeting, do whatever got to be done. She's like, all right, bet. So one day she came to me and I was in the studio or something. She was like, yo, I was like, what happened? Like you spent $2,000 on what? Like it was like all our money. And she's like, I got a meeting with, Strange Music. I was like, all right, fuck it.
Hey, there's that one shot, one opportunity.
Yeah, so that was really it. And then we went out. When we came out, I feel like it was everything that I manifested that I thought it would be when I sat in because we went there on some Shark Tank type of vibe where we have FBA, and I was like, I don't want to let that die. It's everything, still is. We built it to, Strange has worked with us where on my merch we'll have FBA. I got these bandanas with FBA.
Oh,
so we
really
kind of we built like a family. People call it family by association now, and it became a thing. And I was like, I want to grow it, so I was looking for an investment. I was pitching numbers, but I was saying, hey, we didn't, we got some merch numbers, probably a mess. It was like on a pencil and shit. But we had a binder with all of our sales or whatever. Because I'm like, I knew right away nobody's gonna mess with you if you don't have numbers. Like if you don't.
Wolf of Wall
But I'm like,
Street
yo, we
stuff.
sold out this show. And then he's like, listen, the only reason you came here is because we looked into you, and we're messing with what you're doing, and that was really cool because I thought we had a pitch, and he was like, that's why you having a meeting, dog. And I was like, that's dope. So it wound up turning into coming to the label, and that was like at that point, I was so past the idea of like being an artist. I was a producer, writer, and now a CEO of a new company. So I'm like, that's what I'm doing. You know, we work with we went on tour. We did Justina Valentine from Wild 'N Out.
Yeah.
The red hair. That's one of my best friends. I love
Batty.
Justina. We came up doing that, and like we were just doing a couple things. And my boy Jamie Wilson, we were working with getting written up in like Billboard for doing cool stuff, and it was like moving. And I just felt like we needed that person, that next step, and I was right, man. It was like we went in there. The meeting was great. We chilled for like 2 days, you know what I'm saying? And then winded up like never leave. That was around COVID. So I wound up staying in Kansas City because it was like safe here from New York. Like we were like ducking out. Yeah. And then it really just all transpired. And then I signed, we were supposed to do a tour. The tour got canceled because of COVID. That was kind of like how we really connected. And it wasn't like a, organic thing, whatever. It was like, we
took over half a year.
We manifested it and made it occur because I pushed it to every capacity that I'm capable of because I knew it was the right move,
Yeah, and that's what I said. Like, I think what you really hit on it 100% is, especially even during your COVID time and when you signed.
Yeah.
Because everyone there, they're probably fumbling like, oh man, how are we gonna make it consistent, whatever. You had those 300 people.
Right.
Those
more
300
audience,
people.
I mean,
so
even
like,
with
boom.
that, like I had the 300 people. I mean, before that was maybe like a year or two. So then at that point we had more than 3, but whatever.
Well,
we had our whatever it
100%,
was,
yeah.
but we had a little base of people. And like even with that, man, like people don't realize if you could have 1,000 people, right? And people want 1 million people. You want to be the biggest artist in the world. But if you could have 1,000 people that are down to spend $60 on a hoodie when you drop it.
Damn right.
And every time you drop a hoodie, 1,000 people spend $60. Right? Just start doing the math, right? That's like that's one avenue. So people are out here trying to get a viral hit and trying to do all this nonsense when it's like it might take you 3 years to build 1,000 people to buy a $60 hoodie. 1,000 people, that's a lot, right? Yeah. So it might take you 3 years, 5 years, 8 years. But once you build that and you consistently like have that, it's worth it. And people don't really, a lot of artists aren't trying to put in the time, and they're not looking at it like that. They might look at me and be like, oh man, you only got, certain people be like, you only got 10 million on that. You know what I mean? Lil Baby has 400 million. It's like the perspective of things is flawed because even on iTunes, like if you're selling 10,000 copies of your album and you might only have 100,000 fans,
right?
But 10,000 of them copped your music, where a lot of the other people on that list might have 6 million fans, and 10,000 of them copped their album. So the perspective, we were talking about Chris Webby before we started. Chris Webby's a perfect example. Chris Webby kills it. He is giving those people something amazing, dude. He changed their life, you know what I'm saying? Right. And it's just about that consistency. He drops every month, he drops a new song for years. You know,
that's like with me, like with certain certain artists that I use and whatnot. Like, I love XV, and I don't know, you might not know who that is, but he's from Wichita, Kansas. Okay. But he's Seven, maybe the producer Seven.
Yeah, I know Seven.
Yeah, so like Seven is like really hardcore into XV, and the he just dropped a project last week or so, and he's been working with the likes of Kendrick Lamar's, the Schoolboy Q's, the Mike Posners, all that stuff like that. And like, he took a little drop off, but now he's there, but like he still has that core fan base like myself and people, he calls them Squarians. But it's like I really tune into everything that he does. And he might not drop as much as everybody all the time, but it's like every now and then he'll drop something and I'm like, dude, that's dope.
Think about Kendrick.
Think that's what XV. Huh?
Think about Kendrick. Kendrick
has a big mass.
But it is in that vein.
Kendrick goes in between dropping, right? Like we have Butterfly.
You wait for
2015.
You wait forever for Kendrick.
Damn comes out 2017.
Yeah,
Miss Morales doesn't come out for another 4 years.
Same thing with J. Cole. J. Cole deactivates his social media while he's not putting out music. So like there's a line where it's like, and he cares though. That's where the main thing is caring.
Yes, you're
right.
Like,
I'm not gonna say the name because whatever, but there's a bigger rapper that when he was popping, he had a hit single and he was out. I don't know this person. I'm just not gonna say his name, but whatever. Right. He had a hit single, and then I know a manager that worked with him, and he was literally doing arenas, dude. He was doing like 10,000 people shows at that time. He had the #1 single in the world, and then that was maybe 8 years ago, right? At that time, the manager was like, "Hey, let's go out on a tour. Let's do a tour." He never really wanted to do a tour. He maybe did one, right? He didn't build those people that were fans. He didn't care. He didn't connect with those people. So now 8 years later, he can't do a tour. People don't show up. They had to cancel it, right?
Yeah, right.
Where he was bigger than half the artists that I'm even talking about, or Chris Webby, or you know what I'm saying? Like some of these people are doing way more numbers. That guy could have been great, but he didn't want to connect. He didn't really appreciate that fandom, and he didn't want to go do a tour because he was making more money to go do a club appearance or something like that.
True.
You know, at the time, because
Yeah,
the
you're right.
song was a hit. So he just pulled up and popped some bottles. It was funner. Who wants to go on tour? Tour's not the most glamorous thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like
No,
it's
it's not.
a lot. You know what I'm saying? You're gone. Yeah, you're gone for 60, 70 days. You don't see your family. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to do it. So he didn't want to do it. And now 8 years later, he can't. It's gone. You know, if he would have went and connected with those people for the past 8 years and went out there, they would have that connection to him. You know what I'm saying? Like they would have established some more than just they liked that song 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But he didn't put that time in. So now it's like, yeah, okay, that's past. That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So those are the type of things that I try to tell people. It's like, stop worrying about having that viral sensation. You know what I'm saying? And go out there and put some time in and get.
Put in the work.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want to be, but I got 4 comments on me. It's like, yeah, but you didn't answer those 4 comments. How are you supposed to get more? Like, why are you too cool to answer the comment? That's the weirdest thing in the world. Like artists, a lot of rappers and stuff, like, yeah, I ain't answering. It like makes them look corny. It's like, dude, you got 6 people that like the song, dude. If you talk to them, like, I'm actually grateful enough where, you know, I'm like, I want to talk to them. Like, I'm like,
yo, Jerry replied to my comment, bro.
bro, I'm
Listen
so
to the song.
excited. No, I'm just excited they like it, dude. I'm like, yo, it's like I dropped stuff for years and got no comments. So even like people are like, oh, how do you handle the hate or whatever if there's hate? I'm like, bro, I'm just happy there's an extra comment on the shit. Like, wow, that many people looked at it, bro. This is crazy. So if you could look at it like that, it's a different perspective. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta drop you with a What They Want podcast classic, real quick, as per usual. As our producers in the back look at me and throw up what it is. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what the concept is. You can figure out what it's gonna be.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So I need your Mount Rushmore of whatever he's.
Okay.
I have no idea what he's
I like it. So is this like a Drink Champs type
top four.
Okay.
Your top 4. Okay, so
Mount,
usually
is it 4?
Yeah, Mount Rushmore's 4.
Yeah, no, I know how many
It's a
people
4.
are on Mount Rushmore. I definitely. I was just asking if y'all knew.
right. You're fact checking. Oh, okay.
That's actually 5.
But
Now I'm like, all right.
now he's lost. But no, let's see. Man, we could say the artist is whatever. Like, well, yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. I know it's a general question or whatever, but like, who is your top 5 of your goats of where you are? Top 5, top 4 because of Mount Rushmore. But who is it that you're like, you know what, I would love to work with, or maybe just be like, hey man, this is just
hip hop
all
or
of music.
all of music. This isn't just hip hop. It's all man. Boom.
I mean, Dead or Alive too. That's all.
Everything, bro. No exclusion.
I always go Dead or Alive, top Bob Marley. If I could just be around him or be in like a studio session, or if we could collaborate in any way, I feel like that dude's music is my favorite thing in the world. So that'd be number 1. Number 2, I'm a super big right now J. Cole fan, dude. I love everything that J. Cole does with Dreamville and whatever. Yeah, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. J. Cole's on there. Bob Marley. And then if we're gonna go outside the box, man, there's so many. Like I love Billie Eilish, dude. Like I'm obsessed with Billie Eilish's voice, dude. Like she's incredible. Hey, dude, I'm sorry, man. Like something about that is just,
We're vibing with it.
Yo,
Man.
she got some shit.
yeah.
That
Oh yeah.
is banging.
She got some shit, and yeah, she's somebody that I listen to a lot. Yeah, I just put her on there. That's crazy. I just don't. I'm just being raw, being like off
That's
the tip
all we
with it.
need.
But yeah, was that 3? Was that 4?
That's 4.
See, there you go.
That's 4.
I think it was 3.
That
was 3.
He had I can't
J.
remember.
Cole,
Bob
he had
Marley, J.
Bob Marley,
Cole.
and Billie Eilish.
Yeah,
That was 4.
Oh shoot.
Damn. Okay, I thought
I was like, I think I can count.
What was the first
Either
guy
4.
said?
And then
He said Bob Marley.
Oh.
He said all times Bob Marley is the person he wants to go. You know.
yeah, and then I would probably say there's so many like right now. If I was to like think about the album, like Post Malone, I love Post Malone, dude. Yeah, I'm a big pop fan. I like pop music, man. I like music that makes you feel good, bro. And
You like the fist pumping?
I don't. I don't like the EDM stuff, man.
Yeah, the whole.
I did it for a while. I was a writer for. I worked with like Universal at the time. It was a big like subsidiary, but they did EDM, and I wrote a lot of stuff. Like I would write hooks that artists would sing, and man, I just like grew a hatred for it after a while. Like I feel like it gets so repetitive. But
It does.
don't get me wrong, I could enjoy it, but that's not my cup of tea. I can't produce it or anything like that.
Hey, I got a question from the background.
Yeah, what's up?
We gonna
Royal back there.
yeah, it's happening. Going back just a little bit to what you said about your country album.
Yeah. It's not a country album.
Just a couple records
I just
or
say
whatever.
yeah. I'm just exploring the country.
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Where are you pulling your inspiration from for that? I know you said Jelly,
Of course.
watching him and whatnot, but where is it actually coming from? Is it something that you saw, or is
No, it's
some
coming
different
from my
stuff that you
love.
heard, or-
It's coming from my love of the new. Like I just said, I love pop music, so it's coming from my love of the new pop country stuff that's out.
Shabuzi and everything?
Yeah, man, I love that. I love that song. And then like so like the Morgan and Post record, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I like that simplicity of that stuff. So then when I love something, my next step is to like just naturally I wind up trying to produce something like it, or I wind up trying to make something like it. Yeah. So that's kind of
You're an artist. You want to create.
yeah, and then I moved to Kansas City, and I've been in Nashville a lot. Coming from New York, people will even say, "Oh, Kansas City ain't country or whatever." It is for me.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? A little bit.
Shit.
Yeah, people don't like that. They're like,
DJ Royal in the car.
well, yeah. Someone said recently, like, "Oh, Kansas City ain't country." I'm like, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I mean, I've been like, I chill with people from like the 30s and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be in the hood out here, so like, I get it. I get the culture out here and what it is. So, but I also I got to hear a lot more country. There's country stations and stuff out here on the radio. Like, but yeah, that's kind of where it came from. The inspiration of that, and then like Jelly's being around Jelly has been insane. Just watching his, even from the past few years. Like,
Yeah,
the past
his
year,
rise is crazy.
it's been insane, and I love Jelly's music. I loved it from when I first met him. I was like, I'm not into this type of music, but I loved it, you know. And
It just drawed you in.
that was kind of one of the things that opened me up to that sound, though, is like Jelly's the homie, and then he would be playing me stuff, and I started actually like looking at it different. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like this new music's exciting, dude. Like this is something that this is my favorite stuff I've ever made. The stuff that's about to drop.
So speak on that, man. Tell
ready for
me,
it to
tell
Yeah.
people like what you got coming out, all that stuff.
Yeah, so this album is like a brand new for me. It's like basically my whole entire life has come to this. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? It's like everything I've ever been through and everything I've ever experienced and everything I've learned musically. I've produced a lot of this. This is mostly me and my boy Wishmaster, and he's like a platinum selling.
Yeah, Wishmaster, yeah.
He's got Grammy noms and stuff. So he is amazing. He's probably the only person production wise that's involved in the project, and it's just kind of like everything that I've learned and put together. It's like I was a writer for a while, and then I was a producer for a while, and then I got caught up with Tech Nine and started really diving into more hip hop and more chop rap stuff. So it's like a combination of all that, and it's like it's just kind of refined, and I always told people like, I think I'm almost there. I think that the working title right now is Work in Progress on my album, like WIP. Yeah.
I laughed only because like I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, hey, my life, everything, work in progress.
Work in progress. See, so it's a relatable thing.
Yeah.
Damn right,
and
100%.
that's kind of the thing, especially with my music. So this is like pretty refined. I'm right there. So I'm gonna call it Work in Progress. The next one we're gonna get there, I think. But it took me, my whole life to find my own tones and sounds and how I want to. I've never been afraid to try, like I said, all my different genres.
Reggaeton,
and stuff.
all that stuff, pop music, all that stuff.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, this is me.
You're
This
versatile.
is what it's come to. Yeah, I think I've hit that, and maybe it took that little country inspiration to add
that
in
little
there.
season, man.
little-
That Kansas City season.
Spice, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Man,
sure.
Jerry, we can sit here for like 5 hours probably, and go through. I can go through an interview you did with some kid 2 years ago named Fat Cheesy or something.
Oh my God!
The worst interview I've ever seen in my life.
Did you see what happened with Fat
And then
Cheesy?
he dropped the diss track. That was
You
crazy.
know,
that was insane.
I'm not
bro.
gonna have you edit that out either.
I'm not.
I'm gonna let Fat Cheesy.
I was waiting to bring it up. I hate to bring it up at the end, but like I saw that.
Well,
I saw the interview and I was like, well, this is trash.
And I just did that again with another kid, and I was like, this kid's gonna diss me. Yeah, Fat Cheesy. Are we going into that? I don't know. Yeah, this kid. This kid.
This ain't diss me. This ain't
dude. That diss track was trash. The interview was trash. Like,
No, but he's like like I feel. Oh,
it's bad, but
I feel sorry for him. Like I'm not like mad at him. But
you gonna
like
respond?
Yeah,
No.
we got it's coming. Hey, Fat Cheesy, bro. No, he's
Drop a beat right now.
He's like a fan, and then he a lot of my music encourages people to do that. Like, if I encourage, like in that, it's like him starting a podcast or whatever. He's like, oh man, you're an inspiration. And he hit Tara a few times, whatever. So I set up the interview, and it was just like, it was awkward. It was a really awkward. I didn't know he was only 16 or whatever.
Oh.
So it was like even awkward. I was just like, what's up, man? How's it going? Like, I was super nice. And
Brought
then
his dad in there.
I forget, yeah. But then he dissed me. I forget why.
You unfollowed him.
Oh, I unfollowed him, yeah. So it's a pretty serious thing, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That's social media, man. It's
Be
a
on the
work in
lookout-
progress.
Be on the lookout for the Jehry.
It's a work in
diss
progress
response
at all
to Fat
times.
Cheesy, bro.
Yeah. But it's something like, I think he's even wrote me or whatever. I think I even still like I would like his post if I seen him. I'm not. I'm not tripping on the Fat Cheesy.
No, I had to bring it up.
It's adorable. He's adorable, man.
I saw it.
He
It
is
was,
adorable. He's like such a little, like, he looks like a cartoon character or something. And he's a nice
to put a
kid.
picture of Fat Cheesy up on the screen.
To be
yo.
honest, like this is like at the core though. It's like he's a little kid or whatever. Like I hope that
I
kid.
tried to flex on you in his interview. He was like, "Hey, yo, Jerry, man, I got like 5K TikTok followers."
Did he say that?
Yeah, something like that.
Where's he at on TikTok? I'm curious.
I don't know.
Yeah, watch him become the most viral sensation in the world. Jehry Robinson's career ruined. Well, you know what? But I hope Fat Cheesy like does all he wants to do in his life, man, and has a wonderful future. God bless. God bless him.
So
And then
really-
this track was cute though.
It was hilarious.
I don't think he even said
I mean,
anything.
he made a music video.
I didn't think he even said anything bad at all.
Nah.
Like he was just like you're.
You unfollowed me. You're a loser.
He's like yeah. and your raps are mid.
Your fans are fake.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
it was funny, dude.
But yeah, I mean, real quick, man. I know you spoke on your music, and then also what we spoke on. I got 2 more questions for you. But the thing is, you're getting into podcasting.
Yeah.
Speak on that.
Yeah, that's something that I've been thinking about it for a while, and it's past the point of thinking about it, and not quite at the point of like where we're dropping anything, just yet. But yeah, I love it, man. I love watching him. I tour a lot, and we'll be in the Sprinter van, like we live by it. It will be a 2.5 hour podcast, like nice. We got 3 hours. It's like the whole crew will just be kicking it, listening to an interview or something. So I got really into it the past few years, and then it's almost like something exciting where like when I was a kid and I wanted to like be an artist, and I used to like dream about the idea of it. So like I haven't had something in a while where I feel like, oh, that'd be so cool. Like I feel like podcast host like the new rock star,
It is, yeah. It kind of
It's
is,
really
yeah.
cool, man. It's just something.
Look at Joe Budden.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a rapper no more. He's a
Well, that's actually the only thing where like I spoke to. I've even spoke to some people at my label and stuff about it, but it's like people do. Some people like, oh man, like people are gonna think you're retiring music, whatever, and I'm like, okay, like certain things just aren't that important to me. Where it's like maybe it should be, maybe it's not a good look for my music career.
Kelsey's having a podcast.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a little different at this point.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like even like an old head, somebody that sees podcasting for what it is now, I could see how they may think that like, oh, it's a career shift. Another thing I preach to my people, my little family of fans, and they know well is we don't have to do one thing. We don't have to do one thing. I don't know who ever said that. Like it's like you could be a teacher, and then you could be a pro surfer on the side, or
stripper.
No, it's like sometimes things they warrant that attention. So it's like if you do something on the side and you're teaching, well, maybe one day you could transfer to that thing, but don't stop doing that thing.
100%. Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're a musician, especially if you are a painter, you guys are painters and musicians and podcasts. It's like you could do so many things. I mean, what was like J-Lo or something. Like with J-Lo, think about how many things she got teams or she got things. It's like not everyone's J-Lo. That's probably a horrible example. But like, J-Lo is one of one. But it's like don't we kind of grew up where it was like, all right, you got to go to like college. You got to pick a career. It's like, what are you doing with your life? And it's like, dude, there's so many things to do. It's like, you know what I mean? We could do.
You're not a one-trick pony.
Right.
You literally get hit on, and like you just had to say, I like popular music, but then someday I want to wake up and make reggae.
Yeah.
And then I'll switch it up and do EDM tomorrow.
For
you know
sure,
what I'm saying?
man.
You just never know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what intrigues me most about you being an artist. You know what I'm saying? Because you can, as you can tell with the paintings and stuff like that, you can never dictate what somebody's thinking.
For sure.
This stuff looks all out of the orthodox. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, man. I just feel like I encourage everybody to do whatever they want to do, and it's not as easy as
What they want.
just saying
Podcast. No pun intended, but
Do what they want.
what they want. Do what they want. No, but that's real, man, and that's something that if I like the podcast thing is so fun to me, and now I got a couple opinions like, oh man, maybe you want to wait till you get the record out. It might be a distraction of the record. It's like, we'll figure it out, man. Like, I'm sure I'll be okay. And here's the beauty of everything, right? No matter if something bad happens right now or if something amazing happens, I have the people, like the 300 people I started with, that go up to 100,000 people. And, next year, 100%. Hopefully they grow more. But it's like I could grab my phone, put it in front of my face. I can speak at any time. I can talk to them.
You can reach
so the people that understand who I am, right? Where like I might be goofy, dude. My shoe might be untied in the middle of a show, and I got 500 people out in the crowd in Idaho, and I'm tying my shoe, and they're laughing at me. Like, I don't care. Those people know me, man, dude. They're subscribed to me. I never lied. I never lied to them. I never made a persona. You know what I mean? It's like if I do something weird. Even when I first started wearing like a chain or whatever, some of my original like, yo, Jehry, where's chain? I'm like, yeah, bitch, you know what I'm saying? It's Tech 9, but like it's just like you can change, baby. You don't have to be so committed to like the idea of yourself.
Be human.
It's like, here's what I do. I only like underground hip hop music, and that is it. There's some people like that. It's like, bro,
there is.
God bless you, man. Like whatever, but I don't think that we have to do that. Like we don't have to do one thing. I'm a rapper and a singer and a producer. That's all. It's like, no, I could do a podcast, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Dr. Dre is actually signing up for the 2028 Olympics as an archer. Y'all seen that? Mm-hmm. Thought that would be bigger news for some reason. I was like, what? This is so weird, but it's true. I looked it up. Like
it's crazy.
But okay, Dr. Dre can do that.
Right.
Especially Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
Oh, yeah, it's Dr. Dre, yeah. So last question for myself is, man, and we do this all the time with the What They Want podcast, but who would you like to be on the couch as a guest? Now, with answering that, you got to throw the assist and help.
Okay, to get in here?
To get them in here.
Who would be on this podcast? If we're going like realistic, I got a few people that I think would be great that we could actually, make happen that are in the Kansas City area. But yeah, somebody like King ISO on the label. He's out here all the time.
King ISO.
Yeah, my homie Joey Cool, X-Rated possibly. X-Rated is a legend.
X-Rated is a stupid
X-Rated
legend,
is
man.
a legend.
That's
and he's been on the podcast circuit, man. His new album's going crazy. Shout out X-Rated, man.
You just gave us a bunch.
Yeah. No, those are a few people that I would think, maybe shoot a text to or whatever, have them pop by. They're all either around here or they work at Strange, which is pretty close by. So.
We definitely got to try to get X-Rated. I've been seeing some of his podcast stuff going.
He's been on Vlad recently.
He was on Holding Court with another dude from KC.
Oh, Holding Court, yeah.
I need to talk to this dude, man.
Yeah, no,
X-Rated for
we
sure.
we could definitely try to make that happen. That would be cool. And I don't know if you know his story, man, but
it's a crazy story.
Wow.
Insane. Insane. One of the most interesting people I've met, man, or just had the chance to talk. You talk about inspiration, like he thought he was doing life in prison up until 4 or 5 years ago.
Fat Cheesy or something.
Oh my God. And now he's out touring and doing albums and podcasts.
Well, yeah, and he spoke
incredible.
He spoke on a podcast about Tech and Lynch having like a beef or whatever, and I was like, "What?" That threw me for it. I was like, "Huh? No, that ain't happening." But I listened to the whole podcast.
To be honest, bro, that's something I'm far removed from. Like,
of course, right?
Like, I didn't even know a lot of the people in the underground world. Like, I just grew up in New York. It was like the old school people before my time was like Big L, if you know Big L.
Oh, Big L, hell
so
yeah.
I said Guru before, like DJ Premier. So like I grew up obsessed with that. You know what I'm saying? And then like Keith Murray and
Keith Murray, man.
LOD, like Eric Sermon, all these like
Rakim
legends
and all that stuff. Yes.
Rakim is literally from my hometown. He's from like 10 minutes away. So like I grew up with that energy. All those people were in my neighborhood, and it was like that's kind of what I knew of hip hop. And I was obsessed with. So there's like, but even just to get past New York took years. Like all the New York people that are legends. Yeah. And then, you know what I'm saying? So it's like going into the underground scene more so with Strange and stuff. I had no idea who anybody was. Like I'd never heard of it. And it's like all these people with these crazy circus, crazy followings. They've been dropping music and I almost feel like disrespectful. You'd be like, how did I not know? But sometimes you just don't know.
You're just out to loop sometimes.
Yeah, there's people that are watching this right now that don't know who Jehry Robinson is, man. Sure. You fucking up.
Find out. They about to find out.
For real though, it's like, even people see my stuff, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. It's like just people you meet. I'll hang out with at like a bachelor party or something, and then they'll go home and be like, dude, this is what you do. It's like, but in today's world, it's just like there's so many different flavors of things. Oh, yeah. There's so many people that are successful that, just are doing different things, different lanes.
Yeah.
This podcast could have 200,000 subscribers within the next couple months, and you could be making $1 million a year off of it, and nobody knows what it is.
And doing Jehry Robinson Part 2 episode.
It's not people gonna stop you on the street.
Like, hey, Jehry, come back in. I know you. Hey, work in progress. Is it done?
Yeah. When work in progress go number 1, I'll be back here. Hold me to it.
Yeah,
Hold me to it. I'll stop by, bro.
Gotcha.
I'll be all excited because.
Yeah.
But that's it. We got to manifest all that stuff, dude. Like you got to manifest this being the coolest podcast in the world, and my album being number 1, and us sitting back here. 100%. You gotta really like know that. You gotta
speak it to an existence.
You have to know it. That's it. You have to like even like we get depressed and we're self-conscious and we're insecure and all that exists. But like that's okay, dude. Like everybody has it, but you have to like have the core deep down. Got to be like, I got this. I'm okay. Yeah. And I
no fear.
I don't preach. I believe in God. I don't preach it to anyone. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of times in successful people, just if you're looking statistically, because people don't believe in God are usually science type of people. They'd be like, yeah, I don't believe, right? So on that note, statistically, a lot of the people with success, if you look at anything, are going to thank God first. Any awards, anything, be like, I like to thank God. So, so there's beauty in having something higher than you. Something that you move for.
That.
That's a little higher.
That sounds like a dope ass tattoo.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Man, well, we gotta get that part 2 after Work in Progress drops.
Let's do it.
I mean, y'all already know. I'm gonna hold you to it. We gonna hold you to it. He gonna hold you to it. We're gonna DM Tara over there.
Yeah.
She gonna hold us to it.
Tara.
It's Tara in Kansas City, dog. Everyone says Tara.
I'm like,
shout out Tara Ennis.
Tara, there we go. I'm getting there. Anyway, we're listen.
My man Carlos in the building too. My man Los. Yeah. Shout out my man.
We got everybody in here.
Man, this is another episode of the What They Want podcast, man. It's your boy Zay. I probably won't be on here too much. I'll get back to your regularly scheduled DJ Royal program. That's that dog Snow. This is that dog, Jehry Robinson, man.
Gang,
Strange music.
man. Thank y'all for having me.
Be on the lookout for Work in Progress whenever that drops. Whatever his podcast is.
Well, the name's a Work in Progress, so it might not be called out.
Yeah, who knows? Next
album to be determined.
Yeah. Next album drops. Go listen to Pilot right now because that's a fire. That's a fire track.
Thank you, sir.
Man, the What They Want podcast is produced by Dialectic Media Group in collaboration with SlaboArts and Zay Productions. Man, we appreciate you, y'all. We'll see y'all next time. We out.
I'ma give them what they want. She gon' give me what I want. I'ma give them what they want.